Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 PM Pacific time in the United States, which is 10 AM if you're in Australia or 1 AM if you're in the UK. I hope all you guys and girls are well. Hellforge, Smurfberry, hello and good morning to you. Hope you guys are well. Good to see you. We're going to continue working on the House in the Hollow game, which you can wishlist right now on Steam. Just click the graphic in my panels below my stream to go to the Steam store page. We're working on the study for that game and we're going to continue doing that today. So we're going to be jumping into the Unreal Engine and continue setting the study up. So far so good, Hellforge, good to hear. I'm doing really well, thanks for asking. Yes, no, I'm good. Happy, healthy, it's all good. So yes, we're going to continue working on the study for the House in the Hollow game. Remember though, if you do miss the live streams, you can catch up at any time by clicking the videos tab on my Twitch page, because I upload all of my streams to Twitch after the stream. Okay, so if you've got any questions while I'm working, feel free to ask. If you want to pop in a chat like these guys and say hello, that is always welcome. But if all you want to do is watch, that's completely fine. I'm just going to grab a quick drink before we get started. Nice and cold. All right. So I did realise we've been setting the fireplace up, and I didn't have any firewood. Can you believe that? We made the fireplace. We made the fireplace grill. We made the fireplace tools. We made the fireplace grill thingy. But I didn't have any firewood, so we're going to have to bring some firewood in. Howdy96, thank you for the follow, Howdy. I do appreciate it when you follow me on Twitch, so thank you, Howdy, and welcome to Phil Does 3D. Kamal's Workshop, it's good to see you. He says, hello, dude. It's good to see you again. It's good to see you too, Kamal. I hope you've been well. Hellforge says, here's a question. How common is fish and chips in Australia? I know it's about as common as pubs in England. It is. We have a lot of fish and chip shops and a lot of pubs. It's probably about the same as England because, you know, we were a colony country. We were settled by criminals sent here from England. So we picked up a lot of their bad habits like fish and chips and pubs. So yes, fish and chips and pubs are very common in Australia. Actually, I can't remember the last time I went to a fish and chip shop though, to be honest, personally. Like I eat French fries now, which are like the American thin chips, not the thick ones that you normally get from a fish and chip shop. And I don't really eat seafood, and that includes fish, because I'm allergic to seafood. I'm not actually allergic to fish, I just don't like the taste of it. So there you go. It's been a while since I've been to a fish and chip shop. All right. So yes, if we jump into Max, you'll be glad to know that I'm using a model that I actually downloaded. We're going to be bringing these logs in, these burnt logs into Unreal for the fireplace. Now, I did not create these assets. These were downloaded from Quixel Megascans. Now, and again, if you probably can't see it, it's behind me, but if you're making a game in Unreal, you can download and use assets from Quixel Megascans completely free because Epic Games purchased Quixel, and they allow you to use their assets for free. And they've got a huge catalogue of stuff, not just models, but a lot of textures and materials and things as well. Hellforge says it makes sense that it's been a while if you don't like fish. Well, that's right. I don't eat fish, and I prefer the thin French fries to the thick ones you get from a fish and chip shop. So, yeah. I try and avoid eating too much fried food because fried food is really, really bad for you. So when I can, I try and avoid deep fried chicken and all that sort of jazz. But I do like chips. I like French fries for sure. Yes. So these assets, they're not mine. I did not make them. I'm using them from Quixel Megascans. Yep. Most of the assets in the game are mine, but a few of them I'm downloading from Quixel just to speed up development a little bit. I mean, it's not difficult to make a burnt log, but hey, it's free and I can download them and use them, so why not? Let's jump into Unreal. So yeah, we're working on the study. We started setting it up yesterday. We're going to continue doing that today. But let's start by importing those logs that I just showed you in 3D Studio Max. Where are they? maybe under models. Yes, here we go. So we've got 5 logs. I probably won't need 5, but I'm going to have another fireplace in the other room, so we'll bring 5 in. Healthboard says nothing wrong with taking a few shortcuts when you have a deadline. Well, that's right. And you know, I do have a deadline. The game studio, we do have a deadline. And why reinvent the wheel? You know, the models that you can download from Quixel are very, very good quality. Usually, a lot of them are actually photogrammetry models, so they're very realistic. And they're free to use if you're making a game in Unreal, so why not? Now let's bring in these logs. So there's the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one. I just want to point out something if you're using Unreal and you see you've got an import all and import. Import all as if you're multi-selecting models to import. If you're only bringing in one, it doesn't matter which one of these two you hit. It does the same job. So it's number 4. Like I could have selected them all at once and imported them that way. And if I'd done that, then I'd hit import all. Okay, let's bring the texture maps in. We've really only got a color map and a roughness map for these logs. We don't need a normal map. Why use texture memory for a normal map when you don't need to? All right, let's rename this material to burnt logs _ map. And let's open that up. And I'm just going to import those 2 textures. Hook up the color and the roughness. Apply and save. Edo, it's good to see you, Edo. How's things? Smurfberry Barbecue. Oh, look, Smurfberry's happy. Edo's here. Kamal says, which software do you use now? I still use 3D Studio Max as my 3D software, but we don't play favorites. Every 3D software is very good now, whether it's Maya, Cinema 4D, Max, Blender, which is completely free. So you don't have to spend a cent if you want to start doing 3D. Download Blender. But I use Max for my 3D software. I'm using Substance Painter for texturing the assets for the game. What else? I'm using Unreal Engine 4.2.5, of course, but this is the NVIDIA build of the engine, not the one you download directly from Epic, but one you can download from NVIDIA's GitHub and compile. So that's the engine that I'm using here at the moment. And I'm using that because it gives you access to DLSS 2.0, which is an NVIDIA exclusive sort of thing. It is very good. I can't talk a lot about it because I have to sign NDAs and stuff, but it is very good. I do recommend it. And you can download the fork of the NVIDIA fork yourselves, but if you want to use DLSS 2, you do need to contact NVIDIA and they need to give you a special app ID number which you put into the engine so that DLSS is enabled. But if you're not concerned with DLSS, and you can download it and play around with it immediately. And NVIDIA allow you to do that. And then obviously I still use Mari when I'm doing texture painting stuff. That's generally not game related. Yep, so that's a software. I still use Eon View, of course, too, to do environment rendering when I'm doing full-on rendering stuff. And V-Ray, of course, in Max. They seem to be my staples. Photoshop, of course. Premiere, because I did video editing. So I hope that answers your question, Kamal. So we have all of our logs here. Now I just want to go through these. I like to put an underscore mesh on my meshes, so it just makes it nice and organized. Let's just rename a few of these and get ourselves organized. So this one's going to be not underscore condensed, but MSH for mesh. And this one the same. 8. Behave yourself. Bad engine, bad. It was recompiling. I'm using distance field shadows, and whenever you make a change, the engine likes to recreate your distance field shadows for your mesh. Same with this one. I know this is boring to watch me do this, but it's really important to stay nice and organized, because believe me, when you start getting thousands of assets for a game, if you don't stay organized, you're going to get lost pretty quickly. So yeah, meshes_MSH, this is just how I do things when we do them at the game studio. Materials_MAT. And textures sometimes _TEX, but textures are less important than materials and meshes. I might just need to go into the properties for these logs and check. We set up some, so we can set up some lotting and stuff for them. They're really low poly anyway, so it's not an issue. Anything I download from Quix or Megascans, because a lot of it is photogrammetry and it's really high poly, I do poly reduction in Max before I export it to Unreal, and then I generally do lotting in Unreal. Good, I think we're good. Let's just... No, I missed one of the walls. Now I think we're good. I just want to move these textures though into their own texture folder. So let's just do that real quick. And I want to move the material. Where's the material? There it is. Into its own materials folder. Good. Now we'll do a quick save. No problem, Kamal. Hullforge says, not sure if I've asked, but is there a way to set a locked resolution when taking screenshots in Unreal? The few that I've tried taking so far have all been whatever the viewport resolution have been. So I can't get a good 1080p. Yes, there is. I'll just wait for this to finish saving out, and I'll see if I can remember where it is. There is an option in Unreal somewhere, because they put things everywhere in this program. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because I use it myself, you can actually set exactly what resolution you want. Here we go. High resolution screenshot. If you open that up, you can set a multiplier for how big you want your screenshots to be. And so this is generally what I use. Be careful though going too high, because yeah, so if I'm running a 4K screen at the moment, so if I full screen this and then try and do a screenshot, it's going to, leaving it at 1, it will make it 4K. But if I knock it up to 2, it's going to make it 8K. So in 3, and obviously you can go all the way up to 10. So yeah, that's high resolution screenshot built in. Have you tried this option? Have you done this one, Hellforge? So yeah, my advice is to use this, and generally what I do is set that up. You can even get it to capture just an area for you if you don't want to do the whole screen, if you just want to capture an area of the screen. So yeah, I set that up, then I just end up press F11 to go into full screen mode. And you can capture your screenshot that way, or you can start playing the level and capture it while the thing is playing. Hellforge says, yeah, that's what I've done, but for some reason it doesn't grab the 1080p screen that I'm using, but the viewport window thing in UE4. Okay. That's strange. Although I didn't hit the full screen, yeah. It's not going to get, yeah, it's only going to capture basically whatever, if you don't go full screen, it'll capture whatever size that is on your monitor. So press F11 to go into full screen mode, and you press F11 again to exit full screen mode. It should capture your 1080p screen then, if you've got the multiplier set at 1. If you turn the multiplier up, it'll go higher, and then you can reduce it, which is what I would recommend you do. I would say set your multiplier to 2, so you're capturing a double 1080p resolution, and then just resize the image, because an image that's captured at a higher res and shrunk down looks better than an image that's captured standard shrunk down. Do you know what I mean? So the higher the resolution, even if you scale it down, you're going to get a cleaner and nicer image than just the standard 1080p image. Healthboard says, yeah, that's exactly what happens. So I need to try full screen mode and high res screenshot. Yeah, do that. The other option, of course, is to, I don't know if you're using a post-process volume on your level, whatever you're trying to capture. Let me just see if I can find mine. I've actually got 5 post-process volumes going on this level at the moment, so I use different ones for different rooms, and then one that encompasses the entire building or the entire level, including outside. I really wish Unreal would... I close these down and Unreal opens them up again every time you reload the level. It's very annoying. Anyway, there is an option in the post-process volume. Let me see if I can find it. I think it might be... No, that's my luck. There is an option here where you can set up a multiplier. But to use this one properly, you really need to... Yeah, it's the screen percentage. You can knock that up. So if it's at 100%, it's going to grab a 1080p image if you're using a 1080p monitor, but you can go above 100%. So you can also adjust that setting in your post-process volume to get a higher resolution image. So maybe check that as well. So my advice would be, of course, use this first, the high resolution screenshot. If that doesn't work for you, then if you're using even if you don't want to use a post-process volume, you could add one just for your screenshot. So add a post-process volume, go under rendering features, and it's under miscellaneous, and it's called screen percentage. Play with increasing that value above 100. That should give you a high resolution screenshot. Make sure you turn it down though before you release anything that you want people to play. I wouldn't go above 100. You can go the other way as well, of course. So if you're making a game and your game is not performing really well, you can knock down the screen percentage to say 50, so it'll render half the pixels, so just to increase your frame rate. Edo says, gotta say add the PP. What do you mean add the PP, Edo? Alright, so let's see now. What are we going to work on? Let's. Now I've got to try and work out how I want to set this room up, where I want to put the desk and all that sort of jazz. And I have to, the guys at the game studio said you must stay in the room you're working in. They do not want me to go outside of this room, because we don't want to spoil it for people that do want to play the game. We want them to be able to experience the game firsthand. In case they've been watching my stream, we don't want to spoil anything. So I'll do my best not to spoil anything. Edo says, I remember watching a tutorial and he kept saying PP. I kept saying PP. Oh, you mean PP for post-process? Oh, sorry, because my initials are PP, Philip Fair. PP. I thought you were referring to me. Post-process, yeah, no, I wouldn't. Anyone can call it whatever they want. PP, yep. I tend to avoid it because they are my initials, PP. Hellforge says, thank you. I got a post-process volume in the scene to get rid of the overexposed lighting. It's the one thing in the lens tab, min and max volume. That's what, well, cool. So if you're using a post-process volume, just go into the miscellaneous tab and increase the screen space percentage value, say to make it 200, so it'll be double the amount of pixels. I'd start there. Don't crank it too high too soon. I wouldn't go above 200 in some testing. Not unless you've got a monster graphics card. And then you can use, like if you want to use Sequencer they call it now, not matinee, Sequencer. You can use Sequencer as well to get high resolution screenshots, but it's a little bit more complicated than using that screenshot utility built into the program. But that's another option as well, is to actually just set up a camera in Sequencer for whatever you want to take a screenshot of, and use Sequencer to save out the image, either as a JPEG or a PNG or a Targa or whatever you want. So that's another option as well. And that's when that screen space percentage will come into play more. If you're using it'll still come into play for normal screenshots as well, but particularly if you're using Sequencer. But yeah, I'd try the normal screenshot thing first. Failing that, then I'd jump into the post-process volume and increase the screen space percentage. And if that still doesn't get you what you want, then jump into Sequencer. Set up a camera, jump into Sequencer. It's not hard. If you jump on my YouTube channel, I've got an actual tutorial series on where I set up cameras when I made the cinematic for this game. I go through all the camera stuff there as part of that tutorial. So, yep. So yeah, I've got to try and determine how I want to design this study. Edo says, yeah, you've set the min and max value the same, and then turn off the game settings in the unit tab next to perspective, then you'll get accurate lighting as well. Yeah, because Unreal did, Epic Games did change the, what do they call it? Eye adaptation, I think they were calling it, settings inside of the engine. They've redone it. So if you started working on your project in an earlier version than 4.25, you might find when you upgrade the project to the new version that things look a little different. And that's because they changed all these settings relating to eye adaptation and all that sort of stuff. We've not noticed a problem with this level. It looks pretty much the same as it did before we were working with 4.25, but that is something to keep in mind because Epic Games did change some things there. They generally try and be backwards compatible, but they did specifically mention this might make your levels look a bit different because they couldn't reverse engineer it so that it automatically adjusted properly for every project. So, and we experimented with eye adaptation when we first started making the game. We decided that we turned it off because number one, it gets distracting when you're actually making the game. If you're going from bright to dark all the time, it's annoying working on the project. And I don't know, we found it annoying playing the game as well, to have your eye adaptation happening. If you come from a really bright outside environment into the building, everything is very dark until the eye adaptation kicks in. Like, you can control how quickly all that happens, but it's supposed to increase realism, and I guess it does, because that's what happens when you come from a bright environment to a dark one. But yeah, as far as it didn't add to the gameplay. It became annoying, so we switched it all. I guess it really will depend on the game, though. Edo says, I don't think I explained it that well. Smurfberry says, I hate eye adaptation in games. Yeah, Euro says, aye. Yeah, eye adaptation can work really well in some games, but I tend to not like it. I think it's annoying, and we found it was annoying in this game, coming from the outside to the insides, because the insides are quite moody and dark in the building. So it just became a distraction and it became annoying, so we switched it all. Thankfully, Epic Games gives you the option to use it or not use it at your discretion as the game developer, and we switched it all. So, what else did we turn something else off? I think too. What was it? Eye adaptation and I've lost it. It's gone. Something else. There was some other feature that comes turned on by default. Oh, that's right. It was motion blur. Now, we didn't completely remove motion blur, but we turned it right down. So, because that's another thing that annoys me when I'm playing a game. If the motion blur is too blurry, like you turn your camera and everything blurs, again, that's real life. But when you're playing a game, it became annoying. So we didn't remove it completely, but we did turn it right down. Smurfberry says, if you don't have a serious aesthetic, artistic need for it, then it shouldn't be in part of the game. And Smurf says, motion blur can also shove off. The same with depth of field, Euro says. Now, I do like depth of field, but not so much when you're playing the game. If you're making cinematic stuff, then it's a must-have. Always use depth of field. But if you're playing a game, it also can get annoying really quickly. And I don't think we have depth of field. I think we might have, but it's really subtle. So we turned the motion blur way down, and we turned the depth of field way down. But we didn't turn both of them completely off. We did turn eye adaptation off though. So I agree with you guys. Those things are annoying in a game. Healthboard says, I've only ever experienced motion blur in real life when staggering home from the pub in the morning. Yeah, it's there. I mean, we're used to it in real life. When you move your head, if you move your head quickly, there is a bit of blur, but it's not as much as you tend to get in games. I don't know. Some games really turn up the motion blur to an unrealistic level, because in real life you do get a bit of blur, but nowhere near what you normally see in some games, which is why we have kept it on, but it's turned way down in the game. Euro says, depends on the game. It's nice in renders, but it's kind of icky in games. Yeah, again, if I'm doing cinematic renders, I will keep depth of field on. I will keep motion blur on. Not eye adaptation though. Even in a cinematic, eye adaptation is not good. Don't have it on if you're doing a cinematic. I find it's distracting. But yeah, I definitely keep depth of field on though for cinematic stuff. Euro says, sheltered youth. That's right. So yeah, the room. We've got a few different bits and pieces here we can bring into the room. So fireplace here, doorway is here. So we sort of we enter the room here like this. And this is sort of the angle we're going to see the room at first, straight up. Oh, you'll notice too, guys, if you were watching the stream yesterday, we had the plant coming through the wall. I fixed that. So unlike Bethesda, I do fix my stuff. Oh, Bethesda are going to hate me. Phil's never going to get a job at Bethesda, man. I wouldn't want one with the engine they're using anyway. But anyway, that's by and by. So this is the angle we first see the room in. So where are we going to put the desk? I think we could angle the desk here like this, but yeah, not great. We could place the desk here like this. Yeah, I actually think if this was your study, where would you want the desk? You've got a lovely fireplace here. You'd want the desk here, so that when you sit behind your desk, you can see the fire. That to me is the most logical place to put the desk. So if you're ever making a room and you're thinking, I don't know where to put stuff, just sort of think about it like if it was your room or your study or whatever it is you're making. Where would you want it? Like, where would you want to sit? Where would you want to look when you're sitting at your desk? Hellforge says, considering some of the games they've been making lately, you're probably better off working elsewhere. Well, it's the engine they're using. They're using a really rubbish engine. That's the problem. They need to update their engine. It's based, I've bitched about this so many times on my stream. I'm sure my regulars are completely sick of hearing me say it. But they use Gamebryo. Well, they use a version of Gamebryo. So Gamebryo was a games engine that was around 5 or 6 years ago. And it's complete rubbish. It was so bad, the company went bankrupt. So the game engine does not exist anymore. The company Gamebryo do not exist anymore. And trust me, because when I worked in games development, one of the games I worked on was using Gamebryo, and it was the worst thing I have ever used in my life. And I've used a few different game engines, and it was the worst. I used to hate going into work because I knew I had to sit down and work with this horrible game engine. And Bethesda use a bastardized version of that engine. Or I shouldn't say that. That's really rude. But they use a modified version of Gamebryo. They sort of like took the Gamebryo base code and they added on top of it, and that's what they use for their games. And it's a rubbish engine. It always has been. Euro says, I remember when Bethesda previewed Fallout 76, everyone at the event was super hyped, and then afterwards everyone was like, wait a minute, it's just Fallout 4, and they bolted on multiplayer. That's right. It's the lighting that really lets the engine down. You can tell when you look at the lighting in Bethesda games. It's not terrible, but it's not next gen either. You look at something like Unreal Engine or Unity or CryEngine or Lumberyard, the lighting in those engines is next-gen lighting. You look at games like Fallout 76, the lighting in that game is last-gen lighting. So they need to dump that engine, and they need to write a new engine. If they don't want to use one that's off the shelf, fine, but write yourselves a decent engine, Bethesda. One of the reasons they've not done that, I think, is because there's a big modding scene that's attached to, like Skyrim and Fallout. And if they change the engine, all of those mods from the older games, all the people that wrote those mods would have to learn a new engine to write new mods. And that's a big ask, particularly when people give the mods away for free a lot of the time. So I think that's the reason Bethesda have been reluctant to actually upgrade their engine, because they know there's a big modding scene, and they know that they sell a lot of their games based on a lot of the mods people can download. So they don't want to break that. Even though they did try by selling, they wanted people to buy mods. Bad, Bethesda, bad. They know that it sells a lot of their games. The modding scene sells a lot of their games. So, and you have to go to the modding scene to fix their games to begin with, because they come full of bugs to begin with. It's only the modders that fix their stuff. But you are right, it was Fallout 4, and they bolted on multiplayer. It wasn't very good multiplayer either. Confusion says, hey there. Hey, Confusion, it's good to see you. Long time no see. Weren't you in chat yesterday, or am I imagining things? But it's good to see you, Confusion. Euro says, them working words, Phil. That's right. Confusion says, I see that fireplace in there. Yes, it is, but this is unlit at the moment because there's no lighting in the room. So until we put the lighting in, it's no point me turning lit mode on, because it's just got to be black, pretty much. We're continuing the study today. Euro says, a lot of those Fallout mods are ripped content anyway. Oh, you weren't here yesterday? I thought you were. Who am I confusing you with from yesterday? Well, it's good to see your confusion anyway. So yeah, I think the desk here, so that when you sit behind the desk, you can look at the fireplace, because that's what I'd do if it was my study. So let's do that. Let's bring the desk in and set that up. Now, where is the desk? Phil's going blind. Where's the desk? There it is. And the desk is absolutely massive. And yes, I know, before you guys say you should scale things correctly before you export them, blah, 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 blah. Rude. But that is correct, and you should generally do that. It's not a big deal. You can scale stuff up and down inside the engine, but it saves you work if you set it. My scaling is correct in Max, by the way. It's just when I exported this model, I may have forgot to do a reset on the X-Form. That's probably what's happening. Hellforge says, I just tried rendering with full screen mode in UE4 and I got the res to 1080p. Thank you again for taking the time to explain that. It's been something I've struggled with for a while. No problems. I'm glad we could help, Hellforge. That's what I'm here for. The whole reason I'm on Twitch is to help you guys out and to encourage you guys to do 3D. So never feel like you can't ask a question or anything like that. I'm more than happy to try and help if I can. I don't pretend to know everything though. Let's scale this around so it's facing in the right direction. Now you'll notice that this desk has no drawers or doors. Some people that watched me make the desk when I textured it up inside of Substance Painter might notice that I've also added this little gold border around the leather pieces that sit on top of the desk. I did that in Photoshop just because it was easier to do in Photoshop than doing it in Substance Painter. But apart from that, it should look identical to what you guys saw when I textured it up in Substance Painter. Hellforge says, just got to figure out the lighting, and after that I should have a decent render scene. Well, I probably will tackle some lighting today, depending on how we go with setting the room up, because we have a few lights in, but they're just fake lights at the moment. There's no actual lighting in the room. So yeah, the desk. You'll notice that it has no drawers or doors. That's because I've had to create physics blueprints so that when we play the game, players can open those doors and drawers, which means they have to be created as separate objects. And you'll notice too the desk is see-through. That's because Again, I'm using one-sided polygons to reduce poly counts on my models. So that's the reason we can see through the desk, which you won't see once the drawers and doors go in. So let's do that now. You'll be happy to know I've already set up the blueprint scripting and done the physics for the drawers and doors. I just have to move them in and put them in position. So let's do that. So we have the desk doors, which are the ones that will go down the bottom, down here. It just means I have to position them by hand though. Am I on the right side? Yeah, I think I am. I'm just getting a bit confused with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into Max so I can check my original model. It'll just be easier for me so I can get the layout correct. So let's find that study, chosen, desk. These are the physics drawers. When I create physics objects that are actually interactable in the game, I set those up as files that are on their own. I don't put it as part of the main file. That way, if I need to make any changes, I can jump to the right thing really quickly. But we want the desk itself, so I can get a reference to work from. Oh, okay. It looks like it might be around the wrong way. I was thinking, what's going on here? There should not be a gap there like that. The reason for that is I think I've got the door around the wrong way. So let's rotate it 180 degrees. That's better. I also can't quite remember where the pivot on this is. I think the pivot is here, which means this needs to go over here on this side. Just make sure we move it into the right spot. Remember to save, Hellforge says, just in case. Good suggestion. Let's do that. Let's do a quick save. Because again, I turn autosave off on all the software I use because I get really annoyed when programs save and I can't do any work. Like if I'm in the middle of doing something, the autosave kicks in and I have to wait for it to finish before I can continue working. I find that really annoying, but it does mean I must remember to save. All right. Let's just make sure our door is positioned correctly here. Looks like we might need to go back just a little bit. So those hinges are actually at the edge. Looks like I might have gone back just a little bit too far because it's sticking, the mesh is actually sticking through up here. So let's just move it forward a touch. There we go. Edo says, I made a habit after about 5 changes to save. And before I work on a file, I duplicate it just in case it gets corrupted. Interesting you say that. I do the same thing. We do the same thing at the studio. Yeah, generally you use something like Perforce though, which will automatically do revisions for you when you're working on a game. But if I'm working on my own personal projects, I do revisions as well, so I don't save over the same file. Like in Max, I'll save R1, R2, R3, R4. Every time I make a major change, I save it as a new revision number for that very reason, just in case the file becomes corrupt. So what I'm going to do here is I didn't save one out, even though inside of Max you can see we've got a door on either side. I only saved out one of the doors so we can just duplicate it inside of the game engine. It works out better. Why waste, again, polys and stuff? So what I'm going to do here is duplicate this asset, but the hinge is going to be on the wrong side. It's going to open up this way, and I need to open up this way. So I'm going to mirror it, or transform, where is it? Mirror. I'm going to mirror it on the, before I do that, I got to check on the Y. Yeah, I think the Y. So that our pivot is on the correct side. All right, let's move to the desktop left drawer. These ones, unfortunately, I couldn't mirror because they're all a little bit different shapes. So that's interesting. Oh, there we go. Okay. It is a good way to do it, as Hellforge says to Ito. Yep. Ito says, yeah, man, I did a project for Dell with 11 working files and it got corrupted. I almost died inside when I remembered I had several on an external hard drive. Smart man, Ito. That's certainly the way to do it. You learned your lesson, yes. You'll soon remember to save and do revisions once you lose work, that's for sure. Well, you guys saw me working last week when Max crashed. Was it Max? Yeah, I think it was Max. That's right. We were doing the Boolean, and Max crashed, and I hadn't saved. That was a major pain. So even though I'm used to it and I try and do it regularly, there are still times where I forget. That's why they introduced autosave in these programs to begin with, just so that people wouldn't have that problem. Unless you turn autosave off, of course. So we're just going to position this drawer in the right spot. I know it's a little fiddly doing this sort of stuff, but if you're going to have interactive stuff, you've got no choice. It's the only way to do it. Okay, let's move to the next drawer, which is the middle drawer. Scale it in a little bit. The reason these are scaled bigger, the bottom doors were scaled correctly, but I purposely scaled these up when I was doing the physics asset inside of Max, just to make it easier for me to see where I wanted my hinges and stuff. But again, it just means we have to scale it down. It's no big deal. In fact, what I could probably do is select this one, find how much we've scaled it down by, and just apply the same scale to these. And our drawer should fit without a problem. Ito says, meant 1, not 11. Hellforge says, I got into the habit of doing that after I had several music projects get corrupted over the years, so I basically had to re-record every track for the songs, oh man, and redid the mixing for each. Better to save as a few extra times and keep copies on external hard drives. Increment on save for the win. Yep, that's right. And again, I'm the same. I don't just... It depends on the project. Like, for example, this game project, we use Perforce. But if I'm working on a project, a personal project, I won't just save in one spot. I generally save it at least in 3 different spots as a backup. if it's a really important project and it's large. And yeah, I'm not saying I do that for every one of my Max model files. I don't. But for a large, important project, I would save it to at least 3 different places as backups on different hard drives, just to be on the safe side, because you never know when a hard drive's going to crap out on you, and because they go bad. Hard drives go bad. Although it's been a while since I've had a hard drive go completely bad on me, I have to admit. But just to be on the safe side. Saved to multiple hard drives, if you can. Which is why I've just actually bought another hard drive, a 4 terabyte external that I'm going to plug in when it's delivered. Just so I've got an extra spot to actually save my stuff on. And we have the last drawer, which is the one over here. Rotate it 90 degrees. Scale it. And let's put it in position. Okay, I think it's probably okay. So what we can do though is we can just jump into play in a level and test. Now when I hit play, it's going to turn lit mode on. The room is going to be incredibly dark, but I'm only going to be doing it to test to make sure these drawers are going to open and close correctly. Euro says use source control, it saves a lot of hassles. Yeah, do. And again, if you're using the Unreal Engine, I believe it comes with Perforce anyway, or you can use Perforce. So Perforce is completely free to download and use. So it's, again, source control software, free to use. Edo says if you don't have it in 3 locations, you don't have it at all. That's right. Kamal says enjoy your coffee, mate. I will. Actually, I won't. Oh, I'm not paying attention to my thingy. Health Forge, yes. Hydrate. I will do that. Kamal, you've done it. My apologies. Yes. Hydrate. Copy. I'll do it twice because you did it twice. My apologies for not saying it. Health Forge says when my eyes get tired after working on a 3D project, I can switch over to something else and work on that to recharge. And when my ears get tired from mixing all day, I can't really do anything other than keep the noise to a minimum and don't listen to anything until my ears have gotten enough rest. It's funny you say that because I'm sort of like the same when I do my work. I'm lucky in that because I work for both an ArchViz studio and a game studio, my work is quite varied between the two. So if I'm working on something and I start to get bored because, it happens, I can switch to doing something else. So if I'm doing game stuff, then I can sort of like turn off and start doing some ArchViz stuff. And if I get bored of that, then I can jump back into the game stuff. And instead of doing graphics stuff, I can do blueprint scripting or all that, So there's always a lot of stuff to do. Video editing, anything like that. Because I do tend to get bored if I do the same thing for too long as well. Edo says display, color, night light. This will reduce eye strain. He's talking about turning the night thingy on, and Windows has it built in. A lot of your phones have night light, nighttime turned on. Basically, I think the blue color prevents you from going to sleep, too much blue. And night light is sort of like a red that's supposed to help you sleep. I've never had a problem going to sleep regardless, but Oh, Sniper Echo, good to see you, buddy. My apology, it takes me a while to catch up with the chat. I'm just having a coffee. But it's good to see you, Sniper. How goes it? It goes really well. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. Happy, healthy. It's all good. I hope you're doing well. I hope your project's going okay as well, Sniper Echo. Edo says, echo. Hellforge says, so far so good. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you, Sniper. So yeah, we're just about to jump in, and I've placed the physics objects inside of the desk, the drawers. I'm just going to test them quickly in the engine to make sure that they're going to open correctly, because I haven't actually tested them since I did the blueprint scripting. And it's going to get very dark when I turn game mode on because there's no lighting in the room yet. So let's just test these really quick. So that cupboard opens. That cupboard opens. Again, I know you guys can't probably see this really closely, but I'm just checking to make sure all of our drawers are opening. Yep, that looks good. Now I'm just going to, because I am using the NVIDIA build of this engine, the NVIDIA fork, I do have to make sure after I've finished doing a playthrough test, I have to turn off DLSS. You don't notice it in this viewport, but if I turned lit mode on, you would. So I'm just going to, after I've done any play in editor, I must make sure I switch DLSS off. You don't have to, it's annoying if you don't though. Okay, so our desk drawers are working, which is good. Did you stream today, Euro? Euro says, gory and blood-filled, and apart from Steam going down for 40 minutes, great. Were you playing GTFO again, Euro? Streaming GTFO. Yeah, just finished when you started. Oh, okay. Again, you guys check out Euro's stream if you see him streaming GTFO. He likes to play that game, and it does look like a cool game. Okay, so we've got to position our desk here, and I want, like I said, I think the desk would be cool if when you set it up, you can see the fireplace. So around about here, I guess, is sort of where it'll go. We can always make some small adjustments after we start putting more furniture in. So the door, we come through the door, we've got the desk in front of the fireplace. Cool. Let's bring in the chair. Now again, the chair. Let's pull that in and we can have a look at it. Again, I'm just going to scale it up. Euro says, I don't know if that was scheduled maintenance, but they don't usually bring the whole service for nearly an hour when they roll updates. What are we talking about? Oh, they don't usually bring the whole service down for nearly an hour when they roll updates. Oh, did Steam go down? Really? Wow, that's unusual. I don't think I've ever seen Steam go down. I know that Twitch were having problems yesterday. I didn't notice it when I was doing my stream, but apparently there was some DDoS attack going on against Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, I believe. I think it had something to do with the protests, the Black Lives Matter thing. I do recall reading that, yeah, there was some sort of DDoS thing going on, apparently. Okay, let's scale this up. We don't want a chair quite that high. Looks like a high chair, you know, put kids in. Scale it back a little bit. Nice big gothic looking chair with a high back. Because, you know, if you're going to make a statement in a room, you make a statement in a room. Euro says, yeah, right after we entered security codes and alarms went off in GTFO, tackling enemies where your team is lagging out ain't fun. No, I can imagine. Hellforge says, Steam got the Steam Game Festival going right now, so that's probably tanked the servers. Yeah, the Steam Games Festival. Apparently they've had a lot of part of the Steam Games Festival, if you're a developer, like the game studio I'm working for, we're releasing a game on Steam. So the Games Festival is Steam's way of putting up and coming games in front of people, but one of the stipulations for actually adding your game to the festival was you must have a playable demo, which we don't actually have at the moment. So we couldn't be part of the festival, but apparently they've got over 900 playable demos you can download now, stuff that's coming up and coming games as part of the Steam Game Festival. So if you want to check out some stuff, some new stuff, download some demos from Steam if the server doesn't crash. Hellforge says, I missed the stream yesterday because I couldn't even access Twitch, so after an hour or so I just gave up and read a book instead. Oh no! Well, that's, yeah, Steam, Twitch were having problems. Like I said, they were being DDoSed yesterday. Now I'm going to turn this chair because it's just going to make for a more interesting looking composition if when you enter the room the chair is on an angle. Maybe not quite that much. Maybe like that. Just makes the room look more interesting than having the chair facing, you know, the right way and looking all very prim and proper. Makes the room look more lived in. I'm also going to move this chair back up near the wall so that I can have as much room through here as possible. So I'm going to move this desk back as well, just a little bit. Probably like that. We want to allow enough room for the player to actually get behind the desk so they can open those drawers. So we also want to make sure the desk isn't too close that the drawer opening will hit the chair. I think we should be okay. In fact, I might just scale that chair down a little bit. I think it's still a little bit too big. Hellforge says, maybe my eyes are freaking out, but is that chair the right size for a human? No, it looks a bit small to sit. No, it's not too small. It's a high back chair. It's not going to have a wide seat, but I don't know. I think it should be. Let's play in editor again. Let's double check. So let's just hit play. Again, it's going to be a little hard for us to see until I get the lighting going. No, I think you could sit in that chair. It's not too small, but I do want to check that the drawers are not going to hit the chair when they're open. No, we're good enough. I also want to make sure I can get behind the desk here, and so the players can actually search the drawers. I'm wondering whether I should make the desk a bit bigger. My apologies for the music in the background. It's just part of the game level. So they can get to the doors and the drawers, that's not a problem. I'm just wondering whether the desk might be a little bit smaller. Second favourite, good to see you, second favourite, says, is the back that's tricking you, Hellforge? It's yeah, I think he's right. It's because the back is such a large, because the back of the chair is so big, it makes the seat look small, but it's because that back is like probably taller than a person. A person standing beside the chair, their head would come up to about here. So, because it's a really high backed Gothic chair. But I'm just wondering whether the desk might be a touch small. It's good to see second favourite. Sniper says, it does look small to me also. Euro says, vintage people were a lot smaller than modern day humans. Hellforge says, that's true, Euro. It just looked a bit small to sit in. I have an executive desk in real life and it's pretty big. Yeah, I have a feeling the desk might be a little small. So I think we'll scale it up just a little bit. So let's just make sure we select all of our drawers and doors. And let's scale this desk up a bit. So I'm just going to have to reposition my doors and drawers. It's really difficult to say actually, because the room is actually quite tiny. And the desk shouldn't really be bigger than the fireplace though, like taller than the fireplace. And at the moment it's coming up to about here on the fireplace. I don't think I really want to make it any bigger. Actually our drawers and doors look like they're okay. Maybe I'll just move this one in a little bit. Maybe move this one in just a little bit. I'll disable the DLSS. Thank you for that reminder. I keep forgetting. Just quickly disable DLSS. There we go. Thank you for that. I would have forgotten. Normally I can tell because, like I said, when I have lit mode on and DLSS is enabled, it actually does a weird thing to the viewport. You can actually see how DLSS works. But it slows the engine down and does become annoying. Yeah, I don't know that we really want to make the desk any bigger than that. We don't want it too high. And we need to allow enough room for the player to move around it. So my main concern was to make sure that the drawers didn't hit the chair and that the player could get in here to actually open the doors and drawers and search them. Okay, so if I come back to my doorway, so we enter our doorway, we have our chair and our desk. I wonder if I should make a chair a touch bigger now that we've made the desk a little bit bigger. Maybe. Hellforge says, or whatever you mentioned to do after the play test. No, it was good. Thank you for the reminder, Hellforge. Sniper says, I wonder what size the new kitchen and toilet will be. What? You've got a toilet. What? I gave you guys, there's a gold toilet in the bathroom. Solid gold toilet seat lid and toilet seat and lid. No more toilets. The only other toilet I'm going to be adding is going to be an outhouse out in the forest. As an in-joke for all of you guys and girls that watch the stream while we've been making it. It's not going to have any gameplay value. More than likely not. I don't know, maybe. Maybe. And the kitchen. Well, the kitchen's going to be the last thing I do because I haven't come up with the design for the kitchen yet. We're going to be moving to the attic after we finish the study. Hellforge says, I hope a lot bigger because I'm tired of wrecking my back bending over to do the dishes. Goddamn tiny kitchens. Second favourite says, what about a bidet? No, there's no bidet. I actually asked you guys when I was making the bathroom, do you want me to put a bidet in? And the consensus was no. Smurfberry says, toilets with no gameplay value. Yeah, that's right. Toilets don't have game. We had to have a toilet. You can't have a bathroom without a toilet, I guess. Although we had, when I did the cinematic, there was no toilet or bathroom or shower or anything. We never went in that room. But because we're making a game, the player will probably want to go into a room where there's a door. I guess we should put the bathroom. We should have put the bathroom in, so we did. Sniper says, "Oh, gold toilet. I thought it was a small keyring or something." What? Hellforge says, "Golden toilet. Didn't know this took place in the White House." There's the thank you, Hellforge. There is a link for the Steam game, which you see me working on right now. That's the game you can wishlist right now on Steam that I'm making the study for. Sniper says, okay, so do we have a bathroom? The room, I mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, Sniper Echo? We do have a bathroom. You saw the bathroom? Come on. In fact, if you go to the Steam store page, you look at the video, developer updates right at the top of the store page for the game. You can see a dev diary video that will show you what the bathroom looks like. It shows you it actually being put together and made. So you can check the bathroom out in that video. I'm just going to scale this chair up just a little bit. Just a little bit small. That's better, I think. Yeah, that's better. I don't think I want it to be any bigger. Or do I? Let me just get a bird's eye view here so I can get a comparison between the desk and the chair. Yeah, no, I don't think we want the chair to be any bigger than that. It's big enough to sit your bottom on. Sniper says, I haven't been slapped yet, pill stroke. You were going to get one right now then. You want the pill slap, you get the pill slap. That's for you, Sniper Echo. Cheeky. Second favourite says, I just watched the video and it's a very nice bathroom. Well done. The toilet is an appropriate size. Yes, it is. So there you go. Hellboard says, what kind of shirt do you have on right now? I've been trying to figure it out for a while and I keep thinking it is a Battlefield shirt. You are correct. Hellboard, yes, it's Battlefield. So, just the Battlefield symbols along the side there. Yep, you're right. Battlefield. I've got a range of t-shirts. The game Tanks, Battlefield, Dishonored. I just bought a heap of gaming t-shirts not that long ago. So yep, it's Battlefield. Well spotted. Sniper says, thank you, Phil. You're quite welcome, Sniper, and if you keep it up, you'll get another one. Okay, so we have the desk, we have the chair. The chair is angled to make it look a bit more interesting. I've just got to make sure my desk is around about the middle of the room. It's actually not, but that's okay. I think, anything like this always looks a little bit more interesting if it's not dead center. If it doesn't look perfectly placed, the desk is sort of warped to one side a little bit. That gives us a bit more room for the player, because generally what the player will do is they'll come in the room and they want to search the desk, so they're going to go this way immediately. They're not going to tend to want to go all the way around here to get to the desk. So having the desk positioned so that it's a bit wider here than here is better, because the player will go like this. They'll go that way. 9 out of 10 players will anyway. But if we have that 1 out of 10 that wants to go the other way, we've left just enough room for them to be able to get through there and do that anyway. Okay, so that. Hellboard says, stick it at a jaunty angle to confuse people. I could angle the desk. I did think about having it on an angle here and having the chair in the corner. But again, if this was my study, I'd want to sit at the desk and look at the fire. That'd be what I would do. I could slightly angle the desk so it's not completely straight. I wonder. Yeah, might be interesting. You want me to angle the desk, guys, or you want me to keep it straight? I could put it on a small, I could rotate it slightly, like by 5 degrees, so it's not completely straight. It's just on a bit of an angle. What do you guys think? You guys ever think about that and tell me. Hellboard says, it would make sense if the person who used it last left in a hurry, so they knocked the desk ever so slightly. Well, let's do that. Let's give it a touch of an angle so it's not perfect. Because that's generally where people go wrong with making 3D models, and when they texture them, they make things too clean and too perfect. I've mentioned it so many times on my stream, but yeah, real life is not clean and not perfect. I've just turned off angle snap here so I can have a bit more control over the rotation. So we can sort of angle the desk a little bit so it's not completely straight. I don't think we want to angle it too much. It's going to look a bit strange if we do that. And we can certainly angle it just a little though. What do you guys think? Straight desk or a bit of an angle? It's hard for me to get in a position where I can see it because the room is so tiny. So that's with the desk with a little bit of an angle on it. Healthwatch says, yeah, if you angle it too far, you might have to add some scratch marks on the floor. Yeah. Snopery says, angle but half as much as current. Healthwatch says, I do like the slight angle to it, just not how much. Yeah, let's just pull it back a bit. What about that? So our desk is sort of angled a little bit there. Maybe if we pull it back just a little bit. Maybe like that. Maybe just a little bit more. Maybe like that. So it's just on a bit of an angle. I think that's better. We've got a little bit of an angle to the desk, but not so much that it's too obvious. Is the chair clipping the wall? No, the chair is not clipping the wall. The chair is away from the wall. It's probably just because of the flat lighting. It looks like it might clip the wall. But let's bring in the deer head now for above the fireplace, I think. So, where is my deer head? Where is my deer head? You're not telling me I did not bring my deer head in. Did I not import it? Am I going blind? Globe. No. It does not look like... Let's bring the deer head in. Oh dear, as Euro says, that's right. Yeah, Hellforge, I think it is the lighting that's confusing you. But let's bring the deer head in. So we want to go to the study. Chosen. Deer head. We want the condensed one, this one here. And we want to rename this from deer base to deer base underscore MAT for material. And this one's going to be renamed to deer body underscore MAT for material. And let's import the textures for the base of the deer head. So that one, and that one. So we've got the color, metallic, which I think should just be black, the roughness and the normal. Now, this metallic texture is just a black texture. There's no point in me wasting texture space on a black texture. So instead of using the material, I'm just going to add a constant. Oops. I hit the wrong button. Okay. I'm just going to add a constant if I press the right button. And we're just going to plug that into the metallic and remove the metallic texture. Save a little bit of texture memory. Healthwood says, might be time to clean those glasses. Why? Okay. So I'm just going to, again, get myself organized. I'm going to put the textures into their own folder. I could actually delete that texture, but it doesn't matter. If I don't use it when we compile the game, it's not going to include it in the executable anyway. So it can be left there. It will never be used. So we want to jump into the textures folder and move these to the study. And we want to move these to the materials. We want to rename the deer head to _MSH for mesh. And let's pull the deer head in. Rotate it 90 degrees, make sure I put my angle snap back on. Now we have that hidden cabinet just there, and it's difficult to see because it's in flat lighting, but that's where our hidden cabinet is. So we want to make sure we don't cover that up with that deer head. But we do want the deer head to be about the middle. Sniper says, would be interested in your project file and folder structure. Okay, well, you actually, it's hidden behind me, isn't it? It's pretty basic. Basically what I do is I break up, I have, for my meshes, say, I've got a folder which are the models, a folder which are materials, and a folder which are textures. And so I've got a study folder in shader, in materials, a study folder in models, and a study folder in textures. So anything I'm making for the study goes in that folder. So all the materials go in the study folder under materials. All of the textures for the study go in the study folder under the textures, and all the meshes for the study go in the study folder under models. So I break up each room into its own folder, and then I break up each section of each room between materials, textures, and models into the same folder name. And I also, like I said, any meshes, I do an _MSH for a mesh. If it's a material, I do an _MAT for material. And textures, sometimes I'll do an _TEX for texture. Remember to save, good thing, only thing that matters, Sniper says, interesting. So let's position our deer head here. So we want it to be around about the middle. Around about the middle. Now again, this is where our hidden door is here. Our hidden cupboard, I should say, just in there. And I actually don't mind the fact that the deer head is slightly overlapping where that is. We're going to have a hidden piece here that probably will slide behind this piece. When you perform the action in the game to actually activate this hidden cupboard, the door will slide open inside behind that panel. So the fact that we have the deer head overlapping that hidden cupboard a little bit, I actually quite like. Like, I don't want to make it cover half of it, because the player needs to be able to walk up here and pick up whatever is hidden in here. But the fact that it's just a little bit covered up is fine. Initially I was going to place the deer head further up here, but I'm just worried if we move the deer head too high, it's just going to look odd. So and again, I'm just checking scale. I might just scale it down just a little bit. I think it might be just a touch big. I think that's better. Now I just want to make sure it's moved back against the wall. And it's in about the middle of the wall. I want to try and avoid making the deer head in a line because it's always more interesting if things are not completely lined up. So I might even just move that down a little bit. It makes for a more interesting visual if they're not all in a line. It looks odd if they're in a line, so just making sure they're not lined up makes it look more interesting. Let's do a spoiler alert. Yes, look, I do my best not to spoil anything if you do want to play the game. Like, I'm not going to tell you what's going to be hidden in here, and I'm not going to tell you how you're going to activate that. But obviously, if you watch me making it now and you play the game, you know that there's going to be a hidden panel in here. But that's all you'll know. I will do my best to not do spoilers during the making of this thing. Alright, we've done our save, we've got our deer head, that's all good. Let's see now. I think. Okay, I'm going to bring in the vivarium. Now, we made a vivarium, which is basically like a terrarium, but it's usually for reptiles. So you put snakes in it, you put frogs in it. We're going to be putting frogs in it, which is why you see these 3 little froggies here. Now, what I've done is I have created a prefab that we're going to use, but first, before I bring the actual vivarium in, I'm going to bring in the holder for the vivarium. Not a vivarium, a vivarium with a V. I did not make a Bavarian. I'm just going to move this deer head texture into the textures folder as well for the study. Okay, let's bring in the vivarium cabinet. I think it's around the wrong way, so I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, this is one I've actually forgotten to actually set the doors up on. So what I'm going to have to do is I'll place it today, but I'm going to have to go back through and re-export this model without the doors and the drawers so that I can create physics objects so that they can be interactive like we have on the desk. But for now, I can set it up and I can just swap the asset out at a later date. So we want to make sure it's scaled up correctly. Just make it a tad smaller and decide where I want to put this because it's quite a large object. My intention was never to let the player go through this door anyway, so I don't mind putting it in front of a door. I knew this room was going to be really small. I could put it over here. Just let me see how big where I can position this thing. I can't really put it here because it will block the player being able to get to the desk. So it really has to go either here or in this corner here. And again, I'm just going to make sure my scale is right. I have a feeling it still might be a little bit big. No, we don't want to do a non-uniform scale. I think that's better. Might be cool. And the only reason I'm thinking of putting it here is because I thought it would be really interesting, again, when the player came through the door to see it. Whereas if it's here, it's not going to be quite so noticeable. Again, I don't mind that it's covering the door, because the player is really never going to be allowed to go through the door anyway. I mean, the player could. I could make that into a door where the player could actually move out into the garden. There's like this little garden section outside. But there's no gameplay value in that, really. So, and I want to try and avoid putting it anywhere near the desk because the desk is a big, heavy wooden object. And this is a big, heavy wooden object as well. So it'll just make things look too over-cluttered if it's near the desk. I think, let's see if we can rotate it a little bit. and move it over. See, this is where I have to be careful. I can't go back too far because we're going to start hitting the that post. And I can't go too far in because we're going to start hitting the fireplace.
Open your eyes. Step by step, you walking through the door. Turn on the light. You're on moves on the
Smurfberry says it shouldn't be too close to the fireplace or the froggies will roast. I know, but you know, we can take some artistic license, I think. Yeah, well, unfortunately, because it's such a big object, there really isn't anywhere else in the room it can go, aside from near the fireplace. So the froggies are going to roast a little bit. Actually, I might even make it just a little smaller. I still think it's a bit big. Maybe just a little bigger. It might be a bit small. Maybe just a little bigger still. So yeah, I think the froggies, we're just going to have to, we're going to say the froggies are special magical frogs, Smurfberry, that won't be affected by the heat. How about that? Because, you know, we're in an occultist's house here, so maybe he's put some sort of hex on the frogs so that they can't be affected by heat. Boiled frogs. So no, we're going to say that Mr. Barrett, the occultist whose house we're wandering through here, has done something, put a spell on the frogs so that they're resistant to heat or fire. How about that? So we can have our vivarium near the fire, and the froggies will be safe. They won't die. We could try putting it up against the back wall, and we could move these over. That's an option. Like so we would actually be forcing the player to only come at the desk from this side, because I'd have to probably move the desk over closer to the wall to fit the vivarium back here. Yeah, no, I don't know if I really want to do that. Just don't know if I like it where it is there. Let's get a few more pieces of furniture in, and then I'll decide how we want to move this. So what I'm going to do is I do have a prefab here, which is the glass section for the vivarium. Let's bring that in. I'm just going to check the scale so I can copy it across to this piece. And we're going to move it up. And the front of it should be where the log is, which is here, so let's rotate it around. It's got no froggies in it yet. We've got to put the frogs in. Let's move that into position. And again, until I turn realistic lighting on, we're not going to get a good look at it, but it's using a glass shader, and it has a texture map which simulates like water vapor that's on the glass. You'll get a better look at it when I turn real-time lighting on. Just going to make sure I'm positioning it correctly. Eyeballing the position, that's why You're triggered? Oh no, I've triggered you. Let's just turn lit mode on really quickly. So again, until I go into play mode, that ball in there is part of the fact that this is a prefab. What I might just do too is I might just quickly do a rebuild on the reflection captures. It only takes like 2 seconds though. There we go. We can get a better look at it. So yeah, we've got this like water vapor that's on the glass itself, and we will be putting some froggies in there in a minute. But I might just make some adjustments to the light that's actually inside of that prefab while we have lit mode turned on. Okay, now again, I'm using a static light here. What I'm going to do is I want to keep it static, but I'm going to make it movable while I'm doing these adjustments. That way I can see in real time how the light is affecting it. It's difficult to tell until you do a rebuild if it's a static lighting. So by making it movable, I can make my adjustments and I get a better idea of how the light's being thrown in the room. Okay, I think what's happening here too is the actual material here is, I believe it might be blocking the light from escaping outside of the tank. I'm just going to check that by duplicating this light. Let me just make some adjustments. We'll go 15,000 there. Actually, that's still too much. Let's bring that intensity right back. It's too bright. We don't want to burn the poor froggy's eyes. We don't want a bright, super bright light. Well, let's make it 6,000. Let's make the attenuation radius 300. I'm just going to duplicate the light and move it forward. Like that. So basically what's happening is the light inside of the tank is blocking the light from actually going into the room. So we can do a couple of things. I can either I think the easiest way to go will be for me to duplicate the light and fake it that way. So we're going to fake the lighting coming out of the tank into the room. I'm just going to move it back. Remember to save help. Yes, I need more copy too. It needs all the copy. So if I'm just going to deselect that light. Just checking to make sure the light is actually outside of the glass. And it is, which is good. I think what I might do is I'm going to have a look at the lighting channels here. Healthwatch says that's a really nice fish tank. Just needs some thick treads on it so it can conquer the world. Smurfery says it's not a fish tank. It's not a vivarium. It's a vivarium with a V. Yes, Bavarian. It's a Bavarian. I'm just going to check the light channels here. Light color. Light channels. Channel 0, channel 1. Healthwatch says not sure what that is, but it sounds fancy enough. Yep. So a Bavarian, like I said, it's like a terrarium, you know, a terrarium where you keep usually a glass fish tank with plants in it, basically. That's what it is. A vivarium's generally one where reptiles are in there as well. So just think fish tank but with no water and just plants and animals. That's basically it. Just a fancy word for a fish tank. Pretty much. Healthwatch says, I see, I know what it is, I just didn't know the word for it. Yep. I might just knock back on the intensity of this. I might play with the attenuation radius a little bit. Because remember, we are going to have a fire going here, which is going to throw a light as well. I wanted my floor to be shiny, but it might be a bit too shiny. I'll wait till I get the fire going. We may have to jump back into Substance Painter and knock back on the reflection here on the floor. It might be a little bit too shiny. Now, this is not completely correct in that the light here is actually throwing light along the front of the fish tank, which is not completely correct. If we have a light inside, like we do, it's generally not going to throw light on the outside of the tank like that. We have a couple of options. Basically what I'm thinking is when I get the fireplace in there and the fire going, the fire is going to start to flood the front of this with light anyway, so that's sort of going to hide that not quite right thing. The other thing we could do is we could go into the lighting channels and we could set up specific lighting channels for this part of the to not be affected by this light, but at this stage I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till we get the fire going and wait till we get some of the other lighting happening in the room and decide whether it needs it then. So, while not completely correct, physically, really, realistically correct to have that being lit like that, I believe it's going to be hidden when we get the fire going and all that sort of stuff. So, let's jump back into unlit mode. Let's do a quick save. Healthwatch says the downside of not being a native English speaker. I assumed you were an English speaker, Healthwatch, because your English is very good. Very good. I would not have known had you not told me. I think your English is incredibly good. Let's just wait for it to save out, so it gives me a chance to have a coffee anyway. Okay, let's put the grate in the fireplace now. So we have created this little grate, this huge grate, which needs to be scaled back. For the firewood, so let's move that into position. I think I want to rotate that 90 degrees. Move it into our fireplace. Should be good. Okay, let's move some of our logs into the fireplace now. Scale it up a little bit. We don't want these to be directly at 90-degree angles. We want it to make it look a bit more interesting. Might just scale that back. I think it might be a little bit big. Euro says my English is jacked up. Your English is perfect as well. Helford says, thank you. The grammar is the main struggle for me. Swedish is my native language, but I've been speaking and writing English for almost exclusively for the past few years. So I'm starting to lose the grasp of Swedish nowadays. Your English is perfect. Perfect. Your written English is perfect. Hellforge says, thankfully most people around here know English well enough that I can go to the shop or the doctor's office and speak English without any problem. That's interesting to know. So they're speaking English more than Swedish. Sweden's supposed to be a beautiful country. I've not been there, but it's supposed to be very beautiful. Euro says, if you heard me speaking to another local here, you wouldn't understand it. I'm sure I wouldn't. It'd be like having two sniper echoes. No, your English, your guys' English is perfect. Perfect. Let's move this log in. Again, let's rotate it around. We've got to try and decide how many logs we want in our fireplace. Probably 3. Probably. Maybe. Let's bring this log in. Let's rotate it around because the other end is much more interesting to look at than the flat end. There we go. Let's move that over on top of the other two. Do you think we need more logs? I don't know that we need more logs than 3 particularly. I could make them a little bigger. In fact, I might just do that. I might just select the 3 of them and make them just a little bit bigger. No, you're going the wrong way. There we go. We'll position them a little bit better. Kamal's Workshop says it's 5 a.m. here. I need to go to sleep. See you later. Thanks for being here, Kamal. You have a great weekend. Hopefully I'll see you next week. You get a good night's sleep. Everyone loves a log, Smurfberry says. That's right. You have a good night's sleep, Kamal. See you, guy. Hellforge says Irish English isn't too hard on the ears unless they go deep rural Gaelic. At that point, it's just nod my head whenever they stop to take a breath. Thanks for popping in, Kamal. You have a great night. See you, Kamal. Okay, so I think 3 logs is enough. I don't think we need more than 3. Again, thank you, Hellforge. That's the link for the Steam store page, which is the game you see me working on right now. Alrighty, next thing we're going to bring in are the fireplace tools, so let's do that. Now, again, they're going to be too big. Let's scale them back. Now, from when you guys saw me making these fireplace tools, there were 3. There are 2. There's only 1 there now because one of the fireplace tools, the poker, is actually going to be another object, an inventory object that you can pick up and use in the game. So that's why I've removed it from here, and I'm going to re-add it as an interactive object you can actually pick up and use, because you're going to need to use it for another part of the game, which I won't tell you, but yeah, you need to use it for something else. So we've got the fireplace there. I need to bring in the... I need to find it. Where is it? Desk, fireplace, hidden fireplace door, box lid, top drawer, top drawer, top drawer. Thought I created it as a separate object. Oh, actually, it might be up here in effects, I think. I tend to put all of the interactive stuff that you pick up and use in the game into its own folder. No, it's not in the effects. It is in its own folder though somewhere. Just got to find it. I don't think it's in the physics objects. No. It is here somewhere. Not effects. Maybe it's under blueprints. No, it's not blueprints. Is it this blueprint? No. I really thought I had it under effects, but obviously not. Where did I put it? Where will that frog be in the study? Actually, we'll do that in a minute. I just want to find this blueprint that I created for the fireplace tools, and then we'll move back to the froggies. Where did I put it? I put it in its own folder. I know I've got all of these things in their own specific folder. I may have to jump into another part of the building so I can see where... Actually, let me see if I can find it here. As I've been told, I want to try and stay in this room, but I need to find the folder where I put all my interactive objects. Particle, magic effects, inventory items. It'll be in whatever folder these are in. So if I select that and I go find, no, it's not actually going to be there. Let's try this one. Yes, here it is. The metal fireplace poker. Let's pull that in. I'm just going to make sure the scale is the same. Where was that? Yeah, it's under effects, but it's under models and effects. I knew it was under the effects folder. So So we're copying that and we're going to paste that scale value onto this. And we're just going to place this back where it was here in the poker thing. So yeah, this poker will be something you actually pick up and examine and put it into your inventory inside the game. Because it's going to come in handy for another part of the game. Won't say where, won't say when, but will come in handy. Okay. So froggies. Let's put the froggies in. Let's jump back to the models. The study. Let's get inside the tank. Smurfberry says, plot twist, Frog is the occultist. Frog is the size of a building. Frog is sitting in the desk chair. Oh man, yes. That's what happened to the occultist, because that's the whole premise of the game is you're exploring his house and his grounds, the estate grounds, to try and find out what happened to him, because he disappeared 50 years ago and no one had seen him. He just disappeared one day. And huge froggy. Let's scale the froggy down. It's actually a toad, this thing, I think. So there's like 2 frogs and a toad. Oh, come on, don't do this. Scale yourself correctly. There we go. Hang on, where did he go? What am I doing? Z. Where did my frog go? Z. There he is. Hiding over in the corner. Hang on, why is he disappearing on me? Oh, because he's floating in the air. Okay. Well, we don't want him floating in the air. Let's move him down onto the ground. And I think he's a little bit small, so let's move him back and scale him up. Let's make him more social by facing the front of the glass. Again, let's make sure he's not floating in the air. I might just move him back a bit, I think. And rotate him a little bit. Let's turn angle snapple. We can't have one on his own because, you know, he'll be lonely. We have to give him a mate, so let's duplicate him again. And let's put one. I might put one up here on the log, I think. Let's rotate him around. Rotate him or her around, whichever. And make sure he or she is sitting on the log. Ghost frog, still. Oh Elfwood says, still a better love story than Twilight. Oh man, Twilight was on TV here in this country last night on free-to-air TV. It's a terrible movie. Such teenage trash. It is terrible. My apologies if you're a Twilight fan, but man, teenage trash. Paz, it's good to see you, Paz. How are you? Sorry, I just noticed you in the chat. How's things, Paz? How you been holding up? What you been up to? Hydrate. Okay, Health Forge, I'm going to hydrate. It's good to see you, Paz. Okay, let's, we've got 3 different frogs here, so let's bring another frog in. Let's do a save. I don't know if I've saved, have I? Let's do that. Come on. Good excuse for me to drink more coffee. Hellforge says, it's alright to post a work in progress pic on the Discord, or would you prefer to keep it? No. By all means, on the Discord, post your work in progress. It doesn't have to be a completed image. Post it in the gallery, but you guys can post anything in the gallery, whether it's something you just started, something you're working on, or something you've finished. Go right ahead. I actually do want to show something that Second Favourite posted, some of the stuff that he does. I want to show that. I'll show that in a minute. I like to show off the work you guys do toward the end of the stream, and we're coming up to the end of the stream, so I'll show it off in a minute. But I just want to get a couple of more of these froggies in, and then we can look at the work you guys have posted on the Discord server. That's assuming you don't mind me showing it on stream, Second Favourite. Let me know, Greg, if you don't want me to show it, and I won't. Otherwise, I'll show off your work soon, in the next few minutes on the stream. Just bear in mind that anything that all of my videos get posted to YouTube as well, so that's why I just like to ask you guys if you don't mind if I show it or not, because I know not everyone's comfortable. So no, go right ahead, Hellforge, go for it. The Selfless One said, seems good, 100. Yura says, thanks for the Selfless One. Hellforge says, I should have some work in progress stuff next week after I set things up in UE. Cool, we look forward to seeing it. So I just want to get a couple of these other froggies in. I guess we can make these ones a little bit bigger. This one can be a bit antisocial. It can be facing a bit away from the glass. He doesn't want to be looked at. It's difficult for me to get in here. I should have done this before I put the piece inside of the cabinet. Would have been probably easier than trying to do it. So if we have one there, and we can have one. Let's see. Let's put one over here. So we'll put his mate on the other side over here. On this rock over in the corner. Let's rotate it so it's facing. This one is not antisocial. It's going to be facing the glass, so to look at you from the front. But we don't want it inside the rock. We want it on top of the rock. Okay, and then we've got one more froggy, which is this cute little green tree frog, which looks huge. So let's scale it back. So I thought these tree frogs might be cool to actually stick to the glass. So we'll have a few of these. We'll have more than 2. We'll probably put 3 or 4 in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate him around so he's facing the front. And I'm going to rotate him up. And around. And around. And up. he's actually sticking to the front of the glass of the cabinet. This one is anyway. So let's put him up. I don't know. Let's put him up around about here. Okay, so that's cool. Let's duplicate him. And let's add another one sticking to the glass, maybe down around about here. But let's scale it back so this is a small one. And let's also rotate this one around so it's less noticeable that it's just a direct copy of the one we've got on the other side. So he can be sort of sitting maybe a little bit sideways. Let's scale it back a little bit too so it's a bit smaller. And make sure it's actually inside the tank would be a good thing. Let's stick him up against the glass. We can see the chat going by there. I'll check it in 2 secs. Let's rotate it around so his feet are actually facing the glass. I'll just pull it forward a little bit more. I think I might have made him a little bit too small. And I might just move him because he's in pretty much a direct line with the other one. So we don't want that. We want it to look a little different. So let's move him down. Helpwood says, and remember to save. Yes. Let's do that now. And I want to look at the work you guys have posted in the gallery. So I'm going to do that because our second favourite posted some stuff in the gallery. It looks very cool. I'm just waiting for this to finish saving out, then we'll check it out. I do want to add a couple more of these green tree frogs, but we'll do that next week when we finish the room off, because we don't have a lot more to add. There's just some bits and pieces like the stuff at the top of the desk, the cigars, the decorative snake box, all that sort of stuff, and the gramophone. But we'll do that next week. So these are stuff that that second favourite posted in the Discord server in the gallery. They look really cool. So this is some work second favourite has been doing. That's super creepy, dude. Super creepy, but really cool. Really cool. And these as well. I'll just open them all up and then we can check them out. They look so good. Super creepy though. So yeah, really nice. Nice texture work. Really interesting model as well. Not to mention these are just mega creepy. Super creepy. Really cool, but really creepy. Yeah, no, I love them. Love them. Really, really interesting. nicely modelled too. And of course, I like the texturing. Texturing works beautiful. It is nice work, Hellforge. Yeah, so really nice work. Second favourite. Second favourite said that he uses ZBrush and Blender. He does some visual depth stuff for work and uses Maya, but prefers Blender now. So thank you for showing that second favourite. Hopefully it was okay for me to show it on the stream. I love it, love it. Really, really creepy, really interesting. And nice texturing work as well. Great work. I love looking at the stuff you guys make. Okay, so let's just wait for Unreal to catch up here. Hi, Paz. Yeah, we've only got a few more things to bring in, then we can actually concentrate on doing the proper lighting. We'll turn lit mode on, but it's still very dark in this room because we don't have a lot going on yet. But it gives us an idea. An idea of where we're going. But I think we might leave it there for today, guys. Now remember, I stream next week on Monday and Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, but then I'm going to be off after that for 2 weeks. I take my mid-winter break for 2 weeks, so I'll only be gone for 2 weeks, but I am streaming next week on Monday and Tuesday. But next week will be the last streams for 2 weeks after that. So hopefully I will see you guys and girls next week. We will continue working on the study here. Hopefully we'll finish it off. Like I said, there's not a lot left for us to do. Just add a few bits and pieces and work on, and then I've just got to adjust the lighting for the room. But I do want to thank you guys though for hanging out with me and being here and watching. Hellforge says, I have to ask, what's the thought behind having the terrarium in front of the window? It's actually a door, it's not a window. And that's really the only place I can think to put it. We may move it around next week when we start putting other bits and pieces of furniture in there. The reason I have it on that side is because I wanted it, when you walk through the doors, to be one of the things you noticed. I don't know whether I'll keep it there or not. I may move it once we start getting a few more bits and pieces in the room. We'll tackle that next week. But there, and it's actually it's a doorway. It looks like a window, I know, but it's actually a door. But it's not a door that I was ever going to allow the player to go out anyway. Hellforge says, from what I saw, it would block you so it couldn't open. No, you could. You're right. You couldn't open the door, but I never intended to let the player go out that door anyway. I mean, I could. There's no reason I couldn't let the player go out there. There's a little garden out there, but I don't think I will. There's no gameplay reason for it, but I might not leave the aquarium where you see it there. I may move it. We'll tackle that next week when I get more bits and pieces in, though. You're quite welcome, Hellforge. Yes, thank you guys and girls very much so for hanging out with me and for watching. Remember, if you enjoyed the stream, Selfless One, thank you for the 500-bit cheer. I did not notice that. Thank you, Selfless One. And yes, thank you for the cheer. That's incredibly good of you. Yeah, I will be back on next week. We'll try and finish off the study here before I go on break for 2 weeks. You guys have a great weekend. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. And I will see you all on Monday next week. You guys take care and have a good weekend.